Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're heading deep into the Scottish Highlands, looking at this incredibly detailed account of a New Year's trip that just goes disastrously wrong.
Yeah, it starts as this super exclusive retreat, but it unravels pretty fast. We've got old friends, secrets, isolation,
Yeah.
and it ends in murder.
Exactly. Our mission here is to really unpack how this group dynamic failed so spectacularly. It's not just a whodunit, it's about, the pressure cooker environment.
Right. What happens when you take these high-flying city types, strip away their usual distractions, and lock them together in the middle of nowhere? Their demons, as one character puts it, catch up.
It's like a locked room mystery, but the room is this huge, snowed-in estate. So let's start with the setting. Loch Corrin sounds pretty intense.
Oh, it is. Loch Corrin, Scotland. Marketed as, like, the ultimate exclusive winter getaway. Emma, who booked it, was clearly impressed. Only 4 groups get to stay there a year.
Wow, for a year. So super private.
Totally. They're paying for that feeling of being the only people on Earth. But the place itself, the architecture adds another layer.
Yeah, tell us about the lodge, the new lodge.
Right. It's this massive, ultra-modern glass building.
Yeah.
Designed by a big-name architect, apparently, the kind who does serpentine gallery pavilions. Very stylish.
Glass, in the middle of the wilderness.
Exactly. It's meant to blend in with the loch and the mountains, the Munros around it. But that glass works both ways. Amazing views, sure. But they're also completely exposed.
Like living in a fishbowl.
Pretty much. One of them says they feel like insects in a jar. Visible to each other, visible to the staff. Luxury, yes, but zero privacy from each other.
And zero escape because of the isolation. That's key, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the condition that makes everything else possible. The gamekeeper, Doug, he spells it out. It's an hour's drive to a main road, if the weather's good.
Which it isn't usually in a Highland winter.
Right. And if there's a big dump of snow, which is predicted, the track becomes impassable. Not for a day or two, maybe for weeks. They are completely cut off.
And they were warned about this.
Yep. Doug mentions that Heather, the lodge manager, put it right there in the welcome email Emma got. You come here, you accept the isolation.
Which brings us back to Doug's insight later on. Isolation forces a confrontation.
Exactly. Doug, who, well, we find out later has his own reasons for being out there, he kind of looks down on these guests. Spoiled city folk wanting wilderness but expecting hotel luxury.
He doesn't have much time for them.
Not really.
Yeah.
But he understands the place. He says, take away all the noise, the emails, the jobs. Here, in the silence and solitude, the demons they have kept at bay catch up with them.
Wow. Powerful stuff. The isolation isn't a buffer, it's an amplifier.
Precisely. It forces everything they've buried right up to the surface.
Okay, so the stage is set. Let's bring on the players. The main group, the Oxford friends, and then the locals.
Right, the Oxford group. You've got Emma and Mark, Miranda and Julian, Samira and Giles with baby Priya and Katie. Nick and Bo are there too, but sort of on the edges of the main drama.
What's the key thing about them?
Their history. Decades of it. Shared jokes, old rivalries, but most importantly, these really rigid roles, they fall back into the second they're together again.
Like they haven't changed since university.
Exactly. It's almost pathological. And then you have the staff, who are maybe more grounded in that wilderness setting.
Right, the locals.
Heather, the manager, very professional, organized, but we learn she's dealing with her own serious trauma. Doug, the gamekeeper ex-Marine, physically imposing, clearly values his solitude. And Ian, the odd job guy.
But there's a spanner in the works from the start. Unexpected guests.
Yeah, the Icelandic couple, Ingvar and Kristen. They booked the bunkhouse, which is also on the estate but more remote. Their presence immediately throws the London group off.
Why? Just because they weren't expecting anyone else?
Partly that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It shatters the illusion of total exclusivity they paid for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a class thing, maybe. The Icelanders seem rougher, more elemental. Miranda sums it up, thinking the phrase, the other guests, sounds like infiltration of trespass.
They feel invaded.
Totally. They wanted their own private world, and suddenly these strangers are there, seeming perfectly at home in the wildness the Londoners are just sort of playing at.
Okay, so the pressure's on from arrival. Let's look at how things start to decay almost immediately. December 30th, the old roles resurfacing.
It's like watching social regression in real time. These are, successful adults. Giles is a senior registrar in A&E, deals with life and death. Here, he's instantly the loud, slightly embarrassing class clown again.
And Emma, who booked the whole thing, she fades into the background.
Yeah, she's the quiet one, the organizer. Efficient, but not really part of the central dynamic.
And Katie, the lawyer. You mentioned her reversion is particularly stark.
It really is. She's about to make partner at a major law firm. She's powerful in her own world, but put her back with Miranda, and boom, she's the mousy nobody again. Just the audience.
She feels that herself, right? The source mentions the irony isn't lost on her.
Oh, absolutely. She knows she's achieved more professionally, maybe, than some of them. But around Miranda, that old dynamic just snaps back into place. She's the observer, the sidekick. It's humiliating for her, deep down.
Which tells you a lot about Miranda's power in the group. She seems central.
Miranda is the sun they all orbit, or feel they should. She's described as spectacularly charming, but it's charm with an edge. Occasional despotism, the source calls it. She controls the narrative.
And her marriage to Julian is already showing cracks.
Big time. Julian's got this swagger, mirrors her confidence, but it feels brittle. Their whole relationship seems strained, especially around trying for a baby. Intimacy's gone out the window.
How so?
Miranda basically says sex is just a mechanism now, all timed around ovulation trackers and stuff. The romance is dead, replaced by this relentless drive for the next achievement, the baby.
So the air is already thick with resentment, performance, and secrets. Let's talk about Miranda's big secret, the stalker. This isn't just background, is it?
No, this is fundamental to understanding her vulnerability. For years, she's been carrying this. At Oxford, then later in London.
What did the stalker do? She told the group some things, right?
Yeah, the surface story involves small, symbolic thefts, an earring, a shoe, this tiny innermost doll from a Russian nesting doll, set a matryoshka, even a friendship bracelet Katie made her. Things that prove closeness, access.
Creepy, but maybe manageable. But there was more to it. The notes.
Ah, the notes. That's the core of the terror. The stalker didn't just take things. Sometimes they returned them with typed notes. And these notes showed an unbelievable level of intimate knowledge and judgment.
Like they were policing her life.
Exactly. It wasn't just stalking, it was psychological control. She kept the notes secret from everyone, even Julian, even Katie, because the notes contained secrets that could ruin her.
Give us the key examples. The plagiarism one.
Right. At Oxford, she plagiarized part of an essay. The draft vanished, then reappeared with a note. I don't think you want to go down that path, Miranda. The stalker acting as her conscience almost, enforcing perfection.
Okay, that's disturbing. But the other one, the pregnancy test. That's even worse.
Far worse. Early in her relationship with Julian, she had a one-night stand. Panic, pregnancy scare. She took a test, it was negative. The test strip disappeared from her bathroom bin.
No way.
Yes. And later, it was returned to her with a note, naughty, naughty, Amanda. What would Julian say?
So the stalker knew about the infidelity and had physical proof. And they were in her most private space.
That's the devastating part. It proves total access, total knowledge. The stalker wasn't just watching. They were inside her life, holding the keys to her destruction. Her perfect image, her relationship with Julian, all dependent on the stalker's silence.
And she must suspect it's someone she knows, someone close.
Has to be. That's the only way they'd know these specific humiliating details. So she's living with this constant low-level dread that one day this person will decide to pull the trigger.
Okay, the pressure cooker is absolutely simmering. New Year's Eve arrives and things escalate fast. Hunting, games, betrayal. Section 3.
Yeah, New Year's Eve's where the masks really start to slip. It kicks off with this mandatory deer stalking trip. Doug, the gamekeeper, he notices immediately. The men get rifles in their hands. Yeah. He says, something primeval has been summoned. It stops being about jobs and money. It becomes this raw, masculine competition. Who's the alpha?
But it's Emma who actually succeeds.
The quiet host, Emma.
Yes.
She shoots a doe. And then Doug performs this old Highland ritual, anoints her face with the deer's blood. Ooh. Big moment, symbolic. Emma herself sees it as significant, a reminder of our day. This image of Emma, marked with blood, calm. It foreshadows things, maybe.
And the hunt immediately causes friction in the group.
Yeah, they're cold, tired. Miranda starts complaining loudly, and Nick, who's usually pretty quiet, just snaps. Tells her to go back to the lodge if she's going to moan. It's the first real open hostility between the friends. The tolerance is gone.
And the Icelanders reappear.
Right when things are getting tense. Emma goes to the barn to get the venison later and finds Ing, the odd job man, with Ingvar and Kristen butchering the deer. And Ingvar asks for the heart. Says it's the tastiest part.
Oh, that's this weird, slightly gruesome primal edge just before dinner.
Exactly. It sets the tone for the evening meal.
The Highland dinner. What happens there?
Ingvar keeps pushing buttons, starts talking about human nature, bloodlust, how people need outlets for aggression, makes the Londoners very uncomfortable. They like their aggression hidden, you know.
And Miranda tries to regain control.
Yep. Tries flirting with Doug, the gamekeeper, clearly trying to make Julian jealous.
Yeah.
That's when she finds out he's ex-Marine. He admits, chillingly, that he's taken lives, and not just animal ones.
Okay, that adds a layer of genuine danger to him.
Definitely. She's playing with fire, literally and figuratively. Later, she asks Doug for help, lighting a fire in her room. Clearly just a pretext for something. Attention. Power.
Does Doug go along with it?
He follows her, but he sees she's drunk, desperate, he's sober, detached. He realizes getting involved with her games is exactly the kind of catastrophe he came to the Highlands to escape. So he just leaves her there.
Smart move. While she's doing this, her actual life is imploding elsewhere. Julian's secrets.
It's happening simultaneously. Miranda already knows Julian's in deep trouble. Insider trading. She found a 50,000-pound payment that landed in her account, confirming it.
50,000 pounds. Wow. And Julian's reaction?
He doesn't deny it. Instead, he blames her. Says her expensive taste, the holidays in Tulum and the Maldives, the net-a-porter habit, the nutritionist, the private school fees forced him into it. That their lifestyle is unsustainable.
Ouch. Deflection and blame, not a good sign.
Not at all. The marriage is clearly built on shaky financial and emotional ground. And then the other bomb drops. The affair.
Katie and Julian, and the pregnancy.
This is the secret that connects everyone in the most damaging way possible. Their affair started seemingly randomly at a bar. But for Katie, it became serious. She felt Julian was different, more real, away from Miranda. And now she's pregnant.
So you've got Katie, the mousy friend, pregnant by Julian, the failing financier, married to Miranda, the dominant queen bee. Disaster waiting to happen.
Absolute disaster. And it gets worse. Mark, Julian's supposed best friend, finds out. Julian gets drunk, feels guilty, confides in Mark, tells him everything about the affair.
And Mark?
Mark, who seems to have his own issues, maybe some obsession with Miranda himself, immediately sees an opportunity. He doesn't offer support. He blackmails Julian. Uses the secret for his own advantage. We don't know exactly what for, but the betrayal is instant. The friendship means nothing.
So much for Oxford loyalty. This brings us to the games night. Truth or dare?
The perfect stage for all this poison to seep out. Miranda, perhaps testing the waters or just stirring trouble, admits she's slept with someone else at the table besides Julian.
Whoa. Does she say who?
No, she refuses. Just leaves that hanging in the air, charging the atmosphere. Later, we find out it was Giles.
Giles,
Yeah.
Samira's husband. Before they were together, presumably.
Yes, before Giles and Samira were a couple. But still, another layer of past entanglement and potential betrayal right there in the room.
But the really vicious part is the dare for Katie.
Oh, it's brutal. Katie chooses dare. Miranda, clearly wanting to assert dominance and humiliate her, dares her to go outside and fully submerge herself in the freezing loch. For 10 seconds, there's ice on the edges.
That's incredibly dangerous and cruel.
Utterly cruel. Katie sees it for exactly what it is. Miranda putting her back in her box, reminding her who's boss. But she does it. She goes into the icy water.
What happens when she comes out?
She's freezing, obviously, soaked. But internally, something snaps. The source gives us her thoughts. I hate you. I don't feel bad anymore. You deserve everything that is coming to you.
That's murderous intent right there.
Crystal clear. Years of repressed resentment boiling over into pure hatred. Miranda's cruelty just pushed her too far.
And the night isn't even over. Mark makes his move.
Yeah. During a game of Twister, of all things, Mark gropes Miranda, deliberately, aggressively. She's shocked, confronts him later in the bathroom.
And his response.
No apology, just pure leverage. He threatens her, says he knows Julian's secrets, the affair, the insider trading, and implies he'll expose everything unless she cooperates. Gives him what he wants.
So he's blackmailing her now, too. She must be reeling.
Totally violated, furious. And crucially, the source says at this point she becomes convinced that Mark must be her stalker. All the pieces seem to fit in her mind. This sets her up for maximum confrontation mode heading into New Year's Day.
Which brings us to Section 4, New Year's Day. The crime and the unraveling. It happens fast.
Incredibly fast. The morning starts with the big confrontation. Miranda walks in on Julie and Katie in the sauna, having sex.
Oh, God. The ultimate betrayal right in front of her. How does she react?
Externally, terrifyingly calm, which makes her threats even more potent. She tells Julian it's over, divorce, but then she drops the hammer. She'll expose the insider trading. Names the newspapers she'll call the Times, the Mail. She knows exactly how to destroy him. Prison, public ruin.
And then she runs off.
Yeah, heads towards the station, seemingly wanting to just get out, escape the whole toxic mess. But on the way, she needs a moment to compose herself. And that's when the second revelation hits her. about Emma.
What does she notice?
Two small things that suddenly click. First, Emma's wearing the same shade of Chanel lipstick. Miranda favors pirate. Seems minor, but suggests imitation. Second, she sees Emma has a small, painted Chinese puzzle box, a matryoshka doll, identical to the one her stalker stole years ago.
The lipstick, the doll, pieces falling into place. What's the final clue?
A memory. Emma mentions a story about Miranda getting stuck in a toilet during Freshers' Week at Oxford. A deeply embarrassing private story Miranda knows she never told anyone in this current group.
So Emma couldn't know that unless...
Unless Emma was someone else from back then. Miranda checks Facebook photos on her phone, and she finds her. Emma isn't Emma. She's Emmeline Paget.
Emmeline Paget. Who was she?
A quiet, sort of dowdy girl at Oxford. Miranda had briefly taken her on as a project, tried to make her over, give her confidence, and then dropped her completely when Katie arrived on the scene. Forgot all about her.
So Emma is Emmeline, the girl she abandoned, the stalker, the host. It all comes together.
In one devastating moment, Miranda realizes the person orchestrating this whole trip, the quiet friend, is the person who's been secretly tormenting her for a decade, building a life that mirrored hers, getting close, waiting. The betrayal by Julian and Katie is awful, but this identity reveal completely shatters her.
Two massive shocks at once. No wonder she runs.
She flees again towards the station, completely distraught. Emma follows her. There's a confrontation. Emma tries to explain, maybe, blames Katie for making Miranda angry.
What's in the murder itself?
It happens near a waterfall. There's a struggle. Emma shoves Miranda. Miranda falls, hits her head, dies. And then the snow starts falling heavily, covering Emma's tracks almost immediately.
And Emma's justification.
Chillingly immediate. The source gives her thoughts. It was your fault? She wouldn't have said the terrible thing she did. It was yours. Blaming the victim for provoking the violence, taking zero responsibility.
The perfect crime scene, almost, until January 2nd.
Right. The isolation holds for a day. Then Doug finds the body. He goes to Heather, the manager, clearly shaken, confirms the missing guest is dead. Heather calls the police, DCI. Allison Query is assigned.
And Heather notices something about the body.
Yeah, she does a quick check herself before the police arrive, sees bruising around Miranda's neck, suggests it wasn't just a fall, strangulation, force.
Right.
Definitely murder.
And then that moment of accidental help for the killer.
Pure dramatic irony. Heather's on the phone with the police operator. Emma walks in, takes the phone, pretends to be Heather, and the operator tells Heather, who is actually Emma, that they have a lead. A female suspect was seen with the victim that night.
Which confirms to Emma that the police are likely looking at Katie, or maybe herself, but definitely a woman.
Exactly. Huge piece of intelligence for the killer, handed over by mistake. It allows Emma to start planning her next move, knowing where the official suspicion lies.
Okay, so we have the murder solved in terms of the killer's identity. But then the story takes another turn, revealing something much bigger was going on at the estate. Section V, the estate conspiracy.
Yeah, just as you think the story is about the guest's psychodrama, we find out the lodge itself is rotten. While the police focus on the guest, Heather uses her local knowledge and instincts. She realizes a rifle is missing from the gunroom. 1 of 10.
Okay, a missing weapon. Significant.
And she also realizes Ian's red truck, the odd job man's truck, never actually left the estate on New Year's Eve, despite him supposedly leaving. So he must still be hiding somewhere.
Where does she look?
The abandoned old lodge. It's this derelict building higher up on the estate, survived a fire years ago. She climbs up there.
And finds
Ian, hiding out with stacks and stacks of packages wrapped in plastic film, full of white powder. Cocaine.
Wow. So the exclusive retreat is actually a drug front.
A major one. Ian confesses. The whole setup, the remote location, the wealthy guest providing cover, it's all orchestrated by someone called the boss for smuggling.
And it connects to the history of the place.
Cleverly, yes. The original laird built the first station there in the 19th century for smuggling illegal whiskey. They're just using the same principle, extreme remoteness, for modern-day smuggling.
And the Icelanders. Ingvar and Kristen.
They're involved. Ian confirms the drugs come from a lab in Iceland. So Ingvar and Kristen weren't just weird guests. They were part of the criminal operation. Probably the couriers or logistics.
Makes sense why they seemed so at home in the wild. They weren't tourists.
Exactly. They were working. Ian says he had to move the stash because he saw something related to the murder which complicated his plans. Things escalate between him and Heather.
She shoots him.
Non-fatally, yes.
Yeah.
He tries to stop her escaping or calling for help, and she manages to shoot him with his own rifle, I think, just as Doug arrives.
Doug, the gamekeeper. This forces him to confront his own issues, right? Tell us about his backstory.
Doug's story is key to understanding his character. He's an ex-Marine, saw heavy action in Afghanistan. He was the sole survivor of an ambush on his unit, came back deeply traumatized.
PTSD.
Severe PTSD. But it manifested in a specific violent incident. Months after returning, he was in a Glasgow bar. Some accountant, Adrian Campbell, started questioning how he survived when others died, implying cowardice.
Oh, terrible thing to say to a survivor.
Horrific. And
Yeah.
Doug just snapped. He didn't black out. He says he consciously, methodically beat the man severely. It wasn't a fugue state then. It was controlled rage.
But he does have fugue states.
Yes. His psychiatrist diagnosed him with PTSD and warned him about fugue states, times when he could act violently without knowing it. He was supposed to get therapy, but he panicked, ran away, came to the Highlands seeking isolation, basically to lock himself away from people he might hurt.
So he's constantly afraid of losing control, of being a catastrophe, as he puts it.
Exactly. His gruff solitude is a defense mechanism, a self-imposed exile to protect others from his own damaged mind. He does things like hold his hand in fire just to feel something, to stay grounded.
Okay, so this whole violent scene at the old lodge must trigger all that.
Big time. He arrives, finds Ian shot, Heather holding the rifle. But then the two plot lines, the murder and the smuggling, fully converge.
Ha!
Emma, the killer, realizes Katie is the loose end. Katie saw her arguing with Miranda. That was about the affair motive. Emma gets the missing rifle from the main lodge and goes to silence Katie permanently.
She's gonna kill again.
Looks like it. She confronts Katie. But Heather, despite being injured or shocked from the Ian incident, sees what's happening.
And Heather acts?
Yes. In this incredibly brave moment, she shoves Katie out of the way and takes the bullet herself. Goes down, shot in the abdomen.
Wow. And this is what snaps Doug back.
Exactly. Seeing Heather sacrifice herself, seeing the immediate need to protect someone innocent, it cuts through his own internal chaos.
Yeah.
He realizes his purpose isn't hiding away, it's protecting. He confronts Emma, disarms her. The violence stops.
So the aftermath, what happens?
It wraps up quickly. Ian, injured, confesses everything about the drug ring. The boss is arrested at Heathrow trying to flee. Doug visits Heather in hospital. She survives. And there's this sense that saving Katie gave Heather a new purpose, helped her move beyond the grief for her dead husband, Jamie.
A kind of redemption for both Heather and Doug, maybe.
Yeah, finding a way back from their respective traumas through action.
Okay, let's synthesize this. Section 6. Miranda's death wasn't simple.
Not at all. It was the culmination of multiple betrayals hitting her all at once. The marriage collapsing because of Julian and Katie. The blackmail and assault from Mark. And then the ultimate shock. Discovering her friend Emma was actually Emmeline Paget, her stalker for a decade. It was like her entire social world imploded on her.
Which really underlines the theme of hidden identities, doesn't it? Almost everyone was pretending.
That's a huge takeaway. Think about it. Emma was Emmeline, the obsessive stalker playing the part of a successful friend. Katie was the quiet friend hiding a law career, a secret affair, and a pregnancy. Julian was the confident banker hiding fraud and weakness. Heather was the efficient manager hiding deep grief. Doug was the stoic gamekeeper hiding PTSD and past violence. Loch Corn stripped away all those masks.
The wilderness is truth serum. So what happened to the group after all this? Did any relationship survive?
Not really. The Oxford group completely fractured. Samir and Giles just focus on their baby, understandably retreating from the drama. Nick and Bo do the smart thing and move to New York, get away entirely.
And Mark, the blackmailer?
Shows his true colors. Quickly finds a new Miranda substitute at work. He was never really a friend, just an opportunist.
Julian, facing prison.
Takes the coward's way out, perhaps predictably. He goes off to Goa for a detox, apparently with a yoga instructor. Running away, again, instead of facing consequences.
And Katie, she went through so much. Pregnant, betrayed, nearly killed.
Katie actually seems to come out of it with a path forward. The source suggests she focuses on her career, now free from Miranda's shadow. In a dark way, Miranda's death might have liberated Katie to finally be her successful self without the toxic group dynamic holding her back.
Interesting. But the core choice driving the tragedy was Emma's decision to become Emma, right? To erase Emmeline.
Absolutely. That decision years ago to not just admire Miranda, but to become her or a version of her and infiltrate her life for revenge, that was the genesis of the whole thing. The source makes a really pointed observation about this.
What's that?
It says that sometimes the mousy nobodies, like Emmeline was, don't turn out to be heroes. Sometimes they have their own dark secrets. Emma's transformation wasn't about self-improvement. It was fueled by resentment and malice.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listeners.
Yeah, think about Emma meticulously crafting this whole new identity based on Miranda, and think about how easily the others slip back into their university roles. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of who we think we are is just a performance based on the people around us, the roles we play for them? And what happens when something, isolation, trauma, betrayal, rips that mask away? Who are we underneath?
A question that probably hits closer to home than we'd like to admit. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the darkness at Loch Coran.